Bonsai peeps? Mike Toy here, Bonsai Boise. So today I'm going to do one on this Katsura Japanese maple. I've had it I think about a year now. It's doing pretty good already. I'm just going to do a little bit of light pruning on it just to keep the structure tight and compact, and I'm working on ramification still, which it does really well already. In fact, it actually backbuds almost too easily sometimes. I'll give you an idea here. So you can see like branches like this, for example, it's going to be a decision to make, because say this branch here, it's got a little more age to it, but it's got some wiring scars because I didn't take the wires off in time. So I've got to choose between this and this, because what you don't want is a branch that comes up and then immediately splits off into two like this. You want some space there, and then have it split off to two, and then 2 into 4 and 4 into 8. So I've got to decide between this one and this one, which I think what I'm gonna do, well, I don't know, I gotta think about that for a second. I might go with the new growth and get rid of the old growth, because the old growth has, I don't know if you can see it that well, but it's got lots of scars on there. So, and another thing to keep in mind when you're faced with that kind of decision is if you cut the old branch right there and let the new branch grow, all that vigor that was going in this direction will now just more or less be rechanneled into the new branch. So it'll see faster growth than it was seeing already. So something to keep in mind. But anyways, this tree's a work in progress. You can see it's got some pretty nasty looking scars there. It was grafted here at one point, you can see. If you ever have a tree that looks like that and you're not sure why, that's what it is. It was grafted. So let's see if I can find a good angle. Right there you can tell. You can actually still see some of the glue that they use. So other than that, I'll give you a couple more examples. See, this is a good example of the way you want it to be. This branch goes up, splits into 2, 2 then splits into 4, and then we'll make a cut right here. 1 into 2, 2 into 4, and then you're going to want 4 into 8, so you'll count out 2 to 3 nodes. A node is a set of leaves. So 1, 2, 3. Cut here. And now you might get a little bit of die back. That's why you give yourself an extra node sometimes, because if the first one dies back, you've still got 2 to work with. So then it will split into 2 more from here. And over here, we're going to make a cut. Actually, it's not going to take much, really. Right there. So now that will go into 4. Same story here. So 1 into 2, 2 and 2. Well, it should have been 4, but it doesn't look like it's done yet. We've got a lot of, see here, a lot of smaller leaves growing here. So I'm going to leave that alone and just take off just the tip. Sometimes trimming just the tip off will cause it to split again. Another good example here. So branches like this, you see how it goes up, and then this branch here comes out, and right here, let me get this guy out of the way. So right here, this branch goes right back into the tree. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. It doesn't fit the bonsai mold, and it doesn't fit the vision that I have for the tree. So branches like that got to go. So I'm going to take my straight edge here, get it right there. So I might try to keep that as a cutting. We'll see. Anyways, that's just an example of what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, so there it is. It's in this goofy adolescent awkward shape right now, but you know, it's in a, I guess a forming phase, I would call it. So I decided to get rid of the new growth on this branch and keep the scarred branch. I think that will grow over after a few years, so it'll just end up being a non-issue. And I just like the way that it kind of had some character to its bends and turns. And then same thing up here, we had on the back side of this, we had a couple of branches that split off 3 ways instead of 2. So I had to do some corrections there. This one I almost got rid of entirely, but I decided to get rid of almost all of it except for this branch, or this leaf here. Because when you cut the foliage back with a clip and grow method, and you leave the foliage pointing in the direction you want it to go, then in theory it will grow out in that direction. So we're going to try that. But other than that, I didn't get too crazy with it. I just wanted to do some structural pruning just to make sure that it wasn't growing in too many wrong directions. Also, one last word on that is, a lot of times people will say to let the tree just grow for a season or 2 seasons untouched, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do it on some trees, but the pros and cons are, when you do that and then it's time to make cuts, they're going to be big cuts, and when you make a big cut, it leaves a big scar. So by keeping it in the shape you want it to go as you go, you avoid big scars. Not in this case because I was lazy and let the wires on, but in theory. Now, the pros to doing it that way compared to this way are that the tree, whoa, oh, look at that. Almost lost my backdrop there. Cost me an entire $5 at the dollar store to make this. I can't afford that loss. All right, let's see if it'll stay. You gonna stay? I better wrap this up. The pros to letting a tree grow wild for a season or 2 and then making big cuts is that the tree is healthier because it can grow the way it wants to grow, so it just has more health and vigor to it. Keeping it trimmed and neat all the time can sometimes weaken your tree. It can get sick and sometimes even die because it just doesn't have a chance to really grow healthy. So I'm mindful of that when I'm deciding what to do. So I would encourage you, if you're deciding what to do, just keep those pros and cons in mind too. So anyways, hope you liked it. If you did like the video or you like any of the other videos, please click like and subscribe. Leave me some comments, give me some feedback on something you've done or seen, good or bad, or something that I'm doing, good or bad. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.